This is week 15. It's a pretty short assignment for this week. The first thing that we had to do was add the package com.promeneotech.jeep.dao. In the new package, we created an interface named Jeep Sales DAO.java. In that same package, we also created a class named default Jeep Sales DAO that implements the Jeep Sales DAO right here. Additionally, we had to create a method in the DAO interface and implementation that returns a list of Jeep models and takes the model and trim parameters. So you could see it here, and you could also see it right here. Next, we went into the Jeep Sales Service implementation class and injected the DAO interface as an instant variable. So the next step requires us to be in the DAO implementation class, which is the default Jeep Sales DAO, and to add the class level annotation service. This is what we did right here. We also added a log statement in the default Jeep Sales DAO fetch Jeeps method that logs the model and trim level. So now we're going to run this as a test. And it turns out to be red. So this here was expecting this, but we got null. And if we go down into the log line, so we see that the debug statement is coming from default Jeep Sales DAO. And right here on the log line, we see that the DAO, there's the model Wrangler and the trim is Sport. So now we know that the test did in fact reach the DAO class. Next step was to inject an instance variable of type named parameter JDBC template. We also wanted to write an SQL statement to return a list of Jeep models based on the parameters, and these parameters were model and trim. So this was our SQL statement, and here is model ID and trim level. So we had to add the parameters to a parameter map as shown in the video. So we did that. So we have a model ID here, trim level in a map, and we return these parameters. Here is the complete method in the implementation class. So basically it's calling the query method on the named parameter JDBC template instance variable to return a list of Jeep model objects. So I used a row mapper to map each row of the results set, as you can see right here. The final step of this assignment was to add a getter right here in the Jeep class for model PK. And we added the JSON ignore annotation to the getter to exclude the model PK value from the returned object. The final step is to run the test to produce a green status bar. So we're going to show that. We're going to run it as a JUnit test. And it worked.